Disaster lay ahead.
Oh no, heading straight for me, squeaked Percy.
You're nothing but a screeching and a noise when all's said and done. Spite doggy, would you? Take that! You'll feel better, too, after a good hose down. Back, he veered into a siding where a barber had set up shop. He was shaving a customer. So it stung James right back on the nose. Hurrah! Hurrah! Roared the cars.
Peter Sam shut his eyes.
I'm coming apart! There was the station master's house. The station master was about to have breakfast. Horrors, cried Thomas, and shut his eyes.
Suddenly, he saw a freight car on the line ahead.
Get out of my way!
But the freight car wouldn't move.
Frantically trying to grip the rails, Percy slid into the yard. Beep! Beep! Look out! Just like this, he boasted. He seems a simple sort of engine. We'll have some fun and order him about. Quack! Ah! At last, the cars grew tired. I'm winning, gasped Oliver. But it was too late. Beep, beep! He whistled in horror, for rushing straight toward him was Gordon with the express. But the rails were slippery. He couldn't stop in time.
Stop, he cried. Donald's driver applied the brakes, but it was too late.
Meanwhile, Henry had noticed something too. My train's getting heavier, he thought to himself. I'm slowing down. Then there was trouble.
Ofta's driver applied the brakes, but it was too late.
Don't move! You're still attached to Cranky! But it was too late. That's nice. We don't need to stop, said Thomas happily. Yes, we do, called his driver. But it was too late.
Sir Handel was about to cause a great deal of trouble. Suddenly, he heard an extraordinary noise. Whee!
But Percy's wheels just skidded on the oily rails. Oh, no, hooted Percy. Then there was trouble again.
Look out, Percy, shouted his driver, and applied the brakes. But it was too late. Beep, beep. Hello, he whistled.
His driver reduced steam and braked hard. But it was too late.
Suddenly, the crane swung the boiler and knocked Edward right off the track.
Harold is in trouble, Percy cried. We must try to help him. But Percy was too upset to concentrate and pushed the freight cars too far. That lorry's in trouble, thought Toby. And he was. Thomas was rudely interrupted. Disaster lay ahead.
But it was too late.
Help! Cried George. Something snapped. He veered out of control. We're out of hot air! Shouted a voice. Ah! Stop quarreling, you two, or the only thing you'll have left to share is...
Then Henry came by, hissing as usual. But the porters didn't hear him either. Percy... Careful, Thomas, called his driver. But it was too late.
Is there a problem, Mr. Oliver? Yeah, there is!
and dropped the pipes onto the tracks insteed of the trucks.
I can't do it! I can't do it! Leave it to me! Shouted Douglas. The conductor was anxious. Go steady! The van's breaking! Come back! Yelled his driver. I'm really a splendid engine, he thought, and suddenly let off steam. Whee! He rushed into a tunnel thinking how clever he was, but there was trouble ahead.
One moment, everything seemed safe. But then suddenly,
Next morning, as James was being repainted, Henry had an accident. He pulled, and he pulled, and he pulled.
Steady, boy, checked his driver. But it was too late.
Duncan was delighted with Peter Sam's dilemma.
Fancy not securing your freight cars on a hill. They'll come back to spook you and your special funnel. Woo!
Suddenly, Percy found that he couldn't stop. The buffers didn't stop him either. Actually, Thomas, I'm taking the coaches. Sir Topham Hatt asked me to tell you. What about the cars? Asked Thomas.
Henry braked hard, but the freight cars hit some of the rubble and plunged into the ravine.
Her driver applied the brakes. Elizabeth slid out of control into a deep snow.
Suddenly, Edward's wheels slipped fiercely, and with a shrieking crack, I'm doing it! I'm doing it! He panted. Will the top never come? Then, with a... And to add to that, Sir Topham Hatt makes us all shunt in dirty sidings.
oh no, cried Percy. Now there'll be...
The next day, Donald was in a bad mood. Duck could see he was getting too close to the buffers. Look out, Duck!
Thomas collected the tree safely, but large snowdrifts lay ahead.
She was taking a bath, and the water was slopping all over the place.
Sneeze hard when I tell you. Now, he said.
But it was too late. Oh, no, he cried. Percy's far too busy to be bothered with the likes of you. And Oliver bumped the freight cars hard. A coupling broke. Surprise, surprise! Catch us if you can! Oh.
One day, Thomas was in the yard. Suddenly, he heard an engine whistling.
And then, before he could even think of anything else,
He was going as fast as he could, but it wasn't fast enough.
the chain pulling Duncan's slate cars couldn't hold the weight. It suddenly snapped. Duncan plummeted down the incline. The jet engine was rocketing Thomas up the track. What?
He dangled dangerously above the water.
He was almost there when... Whee!
Not very useful now, are you? Said Toby.
You don't know the road. Get out of my way.
Then there was trouble.
My whistle's clogged. He tried to blow hard to clean it out, but instead blew more.
The branch line couldn't take his weight, and the rails buckled. Oh, heck! And he blew so hard, his whistle shot off like a
Then he would stop, and the silly freight cars would go bump into each other. Oh! Mind your backs, he shouted.
That stormy night, the old windmill was struck by lightning.
The conductor, driver, fireman, and passengers were all stranded on the platform. Stop! Later, Diesel bumped the cars so hard.
He's bumped us, screamed the coaches. Let's get back at him. They surged. There's something hanging from the roof.
Suddenly, he saw James pulling a long, slow train. "Oh, bouncing buffers!" exclaimed Thomas. "My plow is broken." His driver tried to stop, but the broken plow hit the water tower.
But he couldn't stop himself and slithered into a ditch. Ooh! Next day, he was shunting freight cars full of china clay. He banged.
Donald and Douglas stopped just in time. Then, suddenly, there was a loud...
But what you doing? Escaping. But the wind had other ideas. It curled round his boiler, crept under his loose dome, and lifted it off
And was just about to drink another when Henry let off steam.
Skarloey and his driver heard the noise and looked up. Duck gazed at it for so long, he ran into the back of Stepney. Then the fog slowly lifted. Time for a snooze, he thought. But it wasn't.
A beam snapped. Timber pieces splashed into the water below. Hey!
They were just in time. Then, it was too late. "Hold on, Jack!" called Kelly, and he rushed to help. Jack couldn't hold the bridge any longer.
Now for our plan, giggled the cars. Go faster, go faster. They pushed Thomas over the switches. Slow down, called Thomas's driver, and applied the brakes.
The tall funnel of the old barge crashed. The troublesome truck...
Percy found himself under the chute, and cold.
Duncan's driver applied the brakes, but it was too late.
"Well, I'm complaining now." And Cranky left the loads beside the freight cars.
Not like that, snapped Fergus. Do it right. Don't interfere, sneered Diesel.
And by the way, went on Thomas, those buffers don't look very safe to me. Hello, Thomas, he said. What are you doing here? I'm pulling a train, said Thomas. Can't you see? Where are your coaches then? Percy was frantic. That's enough!
"Help!" called the engines from inside the shed. "I can't!"
Pull! Push! Backwards, forwards. Oh, yes, I like children.
It was too late. Straight into a muddy pool.
Henry's smoke blew high into the air. The painter couldn't see. Both he and the paint pot...
They like to have fun together and often play tricks on the workmen.
All he could think about was Ben's new buffers.
Oh, dear, he murmured. It's very dark.
Oh! Rusty gazed up and shivered. Above stood Boulder. A crossing lay ahead and the gates were closed. Toad couldn't stop.
He rolled proudly toward his coaches. Then it happened.
"Don't be so daft. It can't," said the driver. But it could. But as he approached the junction, a low-hanging branch...
But they weren't.
The ships at sea depend upon the lighthouse to keep them safely off the rocks. But now there was trouble.
Peter Sam says he was sure he heard a whistle. Anyway, he started. Stop!
It was an exciting day on the island of Sodor. Good morning!
"No!" Mavis cried.
Dirty cars from dirty siding. Yeah.
Never mind, James, whispered Toby. They're only joking. Huh? We do here, I said, but Smudger just laughed.
Thomas had never been so excited. Thomas flew.
It came loose and wrapped around...
"Double bouncing buffers!" shrieked Percy. He was so scared. "The snowbank and buffers will stop him," said a workman. But he was wrong. The freight cars... It was a misty, moonlit night. Suddenly, the engine lost control. One of the fuel cars was leaking. Then, suddenly, it caught fire. Oh, heck! Oh, heck! It was naughty of Thomas to tease you, Percy, said Duck. He was only playing, said Percy. I hope he hurries up. I wouldn't want him to be late for the fireworks. Henry arrived to pick up coal. He bumped into the coal.
They were just puffing out of the quarry when... Help! Oh, dear, thought Percy. Harold's come to laugh at me.
I must be careful. I must be careful. I must be careful. Then there was trouble.
Sir Topham Hatt leaned out of the window to wave at Edward and Henry. But the train was going so fast... Oh, groaned Percy.
Thomas couldn't see. There was a huge rock buried under the snow. Suddenly,
An inspector watched a fitter making final adjustments. The wind tugged at the inspector's hat.
Stop! Stop! Yelled Henry. She screamed so loud and so...
The hens were frightened. They flapped, they squawked. Stop!
At last, their search ended. Quite by accident.